Pressure always dropped on me like a poorly fixed trisol, unpleasant in the moment and for the whole next week, a concussion. My husband's brother never warned about his visits, suddenly came to town, knocked on the door, and smashed all my plans. This time was no exception, and it annoyed me that my husband was completely fine with such antics. Our son Mexic, on the contrary, was happy when his uncle arrived. He always brought him something interesting, toys or treats. The only one who didn't like the situation was me, but since Pesha came rarely, I tried to be patient and hospitable. At the beginning of summer, the weather was unstable. Either the sun was burning or clouds flew in and dense rains didn't let us leave the apartment. On one of the hot days, Lionia and Pesha were sitting on the balcony sipping kvass, when a sudden inspiration struck my husband. "Pesh, why are we just sitting in the apartment? Let's go to the river. Remember how we used to ride bikes to Kamyshovka as kids? Let's go." "But do people still swim there?" the brother asked. "We'll check it at the same time." Lionia jumped off the stool and came into the room. I heard their conversations, and I didn't really like the idea, dragging somewhere far in the footsteps of their childhood, sweating all over. But my thoughts were interrupted by Lionia. "Leonard, let's go to nature right now with an overnight stay." I barely opened my mouth to protest, but then I saw how my husband's eyes lit up. I glanced at my son. He was fidgeting in the chair in front of the computer, wearing headphones. Taking a deep breath, I exhaled, smiled, and replied, "Okay. Just give me some time to get ready." I squeezed into an old swimsuit, stuffed into bags everything that came to hand, and went down to the street. "Len, is some market owner going with us or what? Why so much stuff?" Pesha asked sarcastically. "Yeah," Lionia scratched his head, "tents won't fit in at this rate. We'll sleep wrapped up in your bags. And without the bags you'll eat from your palms and drink from puddles." I shouted in response. "I don't want to go anywhere." Max resisted and pulled his hand away. "Go by yourselves, I'll stay at the computer." "Mexic, we can't leave you alone for a whole day," I tried to reason with him. "Then stay home too," Max shouted. Lionia and Pesha, tired of listening to our bickering, silently picked up our son and shoved him into the car. Max puffed up his cheeks and buried himself in his phone. The trip took 2 hours. Out the window, thick thickets flickered, replaced by fields and sparse villages with just a few houses. The sun burned through the glass, and I could feel the sweat running down my forehead and neck. Lionia and Pesha argued the entire ride, trying to remember the route and find the right turn. A couple of times we took the wrong road, but eventually made it to the place. "There's no internet here. Nothing loads, and the game doesn't work. I want to go home." Maximka started whining. I got out of the car and looked around. Heavy willows leaned over the water. There was a stench of pond scum and something rotten. Underfoot was a mix of mud and sand. Tall reeds stuck out of the green river, and on the surface floated rubber and pieces of styrofoam. "Lionia, are you sure we came to the right place?" I asked. Sure. I remember the road well. The beach has gotten a bit wild, but it's nothing. The main thing is the atmosphere. Smell that air." My husband made a satisfied face and, flaring his nostrils, took a deep breath. "Yeah, I feel it too. Something's rotted here," I replied. Lionia and Pesha began unpacking. They took out the tents, couldn't figure out for a while who would hold and who would drive in the stakes. Everything kept falling, but they reassembled it again. One tent was missing parts, so it sagged sadly to the right. Pesha shoved a branch under it, but nothing changed. Then my husband couldn't find his folding knife to cut the bread, so he started dumping the bags right onto the ground. "What are you doing?" I intervened. But it was too late. Lionia had already thrown the whole pack of sliced sausage directly into the sand. "No big deal," he said. "We'll rinse it in the river and make sandwiches." His words nearly made me throw up. I had to walk away so I wouldn't see this nightmare. Slowly walking along a half-overgrown path, I saw an old, rotten bridge, on which sat a man with a small fishing rod. "Are there even fish here?" I asked in surprise. "Not really," the man answered, nodding at the empty bucket. "It's just quiet here, and at home I've got a wife, 3 kids, and a mother-in-law. Even if I catch nothing, at least I can sit, listen to the water." The fisherman smiled blissfully. He was missing several teeth, which was a bit creepy, but I understood him. I couldn't even remember the last time I went somewhere alone and spent time however I wanted. My son was always with me, and on weekends, my husband too. This year he'd be going to first grade, and maybe, just maybe, I'd finally be able to breathe out for half a day. When I returned, Pasha and Lionia were dragging brushwood and sticks. They managed to get Maxim out of the car, and he actively helped them gather thin branches for the fire. My husband was teaching the little one how to light a fire properly, and my son happily clicked the lighter, laughing when the flame caught. Everything seemed to be going okay, but I felt uneasy. I always feel uncomfortable and anxious in the wild. It's not like a city park, where there's always a restroom, water, and an ice cream cart nearby. This was wilderness, where if something happened, even the ambulance might not find you right away, if at all. The fire burned. I stared into the flames, trying to relax. Max loudly kicked a ball against the trees, and the sound hammered my brain. A wet droplet hit us. I looked up, and another one landed on my forehead. A small rain began. The car was far away, so we hid in the tents, but it stopped almost immediately. Evening was falling, the sun hid behind the trees. Assessing the situation, I suggested going home. "What do you mean home?" Lionia protested. "We just got here." "So what, just a little rain." "The fire didn't even go out," Pasha laughed. "Let's go swimming." With excited shouts, my husband and his brother, throwing off their clothes, splashed into the stinking murky river. "You're a complete fool," said Lionia and disappeared under the water. "Children," I muttered and looked at the bored Maximka. We went to the fire with my son. I sat down on a log, and Max continued kicking the ball. After some time, the brothers returned wet, with dirty spots and smelling of some kind of chemicals. Pasha pulled out a pack of sausages from the bag, skewered them on sticks, and moved closer to the fire. It got colder, the fire warmed my hands and face, but I felt goosebumps running down my back. It was already dark, and only the flame gave off a faint orange light. Suddenly, the ball rolled right into the darkness and disappeared somewhere into the bushes. "Max, don't go far, it's already dark," I called out after my son. He waved back without turning and followed the ball. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. I started to worry. I looked into the darkness, not a sound. "Max sick?" I shouted. "Max, where are you?" No answer. Lionia, noticing my panic, got up and started shouting with me. "Maybe he's hiding? Playing around?" suggested Pasha. But I knew that wasn't like Max. He wasn't one to play hide-and-seek or scare people. He could be stubborn, whiny, but not cruel. I grabbed a flashlight and ran toward the bushes, calling my son louder and louder. I got scratches on my legs and arms from branches, but I didn't care. Max. Max. Behind me, Lionia and Pasha walked silently, shining their phone lights around. Suddenly, we heard a quiet sniffle. I turned and saw my son sitting on the ground, hugging the ball to his chest and crying. Max sick. I rushed to him. What's wrong? Why didn't you answer? I got lost, he sobbed. Lionia picked him up and carried him back to the fire. I brushed leaves and dirt off his clothes and hair. I was shouting for you. Why didn't you answer? I was scared, and I thought, if I kept quiet, maybe someone would come. I didn't even scold him. Just hugged him tighter. We didn't stay long by the fire after that. Everyone was tired and the mood was ruined. Pasha decided to sleep in the car. Lionia, Max, and I squeezed into the tent, trying to get comfortable. But something felt wrong. The tent smelled of damp, the ground was uneven, and mosquitoes were relentless. Max kept tossing and turning, muttering in his sleep. I couldn't fall asleep at all. The sounds of the forest didn't soothe me, they made me anxious. The creaking branches, the rustling grass, the distant croaking frogs. And under it all, I heard something else. Like quiet steps. Like someone was walking around the tent. I froze, held my breath, listening. Lionia was snoring quietly beside me, and Max was curled up near my legs. But those steps, they were real. Slow, careful, circling around. I touched Lionia. Wake up. What? There's someone outside. What? Nonsense, he mumbled and turned to the other side. But I couldn't ignore it. The sound stopped right by the tent. Then, a quiet, rasping breath. I covered my mouth, terrified to even blink. Then silence. Long, heavy silence. I didn't sleep a second that night. As soon as the sun peeked through the trees, I jumped out of the tent. My head ached from lack of sleep, my mouth was dry, and my whole body felt like it had been flattened by a steamroller. But the main thing, I wanted to get away from here. Far, far away. Pasha crawled out of the car, yawning loudly. So, how did you sleep? Like crap, I muttered. Yeah, same. I think I had some kind of nightmare. Someone was whispering something to me all night. And then I saw a white figure standing by the water. I flinched. What kind of figure? Dunno. Just some nonsense. Half-asleep dreams. I didn't say anything, just looked at the pond. The water was absolutely still, with a milky film on the surface. By the fire pit, Lionia was trying to light the coals again, tossing dry grass into the ashes. Morning, sleepyhead, he smiled. Want some tea? No, I want to go home. Len, don't be like that. The weather's great, the day's just starting. I don't care. I want to leave. Right now. Lionia frowned. What happened? I heard someone walking around the tent last night. Breathing. Watching us. You probably dreamed it. You were nervous all day, it's normal. I didn't dream it. I couldn't sleep at all. Someone was there. Max, who had been quietly playing with the ball, froze. Mom, I saw someone too, at night, through the tent wall. What? Why didn't you say anything? I thought it was a dream. It was tall and white, with no face. I felt a chill run down my spine. We're leaving. That's it. We packed up in complete silence. Even Lionia stopped arguing. He kept looking over his shoulder at the trees. Pasha didn't joke or laugh. Max sat quietly in the back seat, clutching his ball and looking out the window. The road back felt longer. The trees seemed darker. The villages more deserted. Only when we reached the city did I finally exhale. At home, we unpacked, showered, and collapsed into our beds. By evening, I had almost convinced myself it had all been nerves, exhaustion, and imagination. Almost. Until I opened Max's backpack to take out his things, and found inside a wet, rotting stuffed toy. A strange one, long, human-like arms, a body like a rag doll, but the fabric was covered in grey slime, and it reeked of pond water. I called Max. "What is this? Where did you get it?" He looked at the toy and paled. "I don't know. I didn't pack that." "Are you sure?" "Yes, I swear. I didn't touch it." I took the toy by the very edge and threw it in the trash chute. That night, I didn't sleep again. And in the morning, when I opened Max's backpack, the toy was back inside. Wet. Smelling of rot. Staring at me with empty, sewn-on eyes. I froze, staring at that nightmare toy. I clearly remembered tossing it into the trash chute. I even leaned over and heard it hit the bottom. But now, it was back. Soaked. Cold. As if it had just crawled out of the pond. Max walked into the room, looked into the backpack, and screamed. "Mom! It's back!" I grabbed him and pulled him to me. "It's okay. It's just someone's joke." Lionia probably pulled it out, thought it was funny. But Lionia, when he came home, turned pale too. "What the hell is that thing? Why is it in the house? You didn't bring it back?" "Of course not. I thought you threw it out." That evening, I put the toy in a bag, tied it tightly, and threw it in a dumpster a few blocks away. I didn't tell Max. I just wanted to end this nightmare. But at night, the tap in the bathroom started dripping. And I heard soft wet footsteps in the hallway. Something shuffled behind the door. Then a whisper, "Max." I ran to his room. He was sleeping soundly. I locked his door and sat next to him until morning. And in the morning, the toy was in Max's bed. Dry this time. Like it had always been there. We moved a few days later. Sold the apartment, changed cities, changed schools, jobs. We burned the toy in a field, poured salt around the ashes. It hasn't come back. Yet. But sometimes, when the house is quiet and I'm alone, I hear wet footsteps in the hallway. And a faint whisper through the wall, "Max."